Hi, Tim Schwartz here, head golf professional at Rosa Golf Course. I'd like to welcome everyone back to the golf tip. So I thought today we'd go over some of the fundamentals on how to hit a bunker shot. So we do have a few bunkers out here at Rosa. It's a little bit of a different mindset when we hit these shots. So we're going to go over some of the fundamentals, hit a couple of shots for you. The mindset we need to get into when we come in to hit a bunker shot is it's a one shot in golf where we're not trying to hit the golf ball. So every other shot, whether it's a putt, a drive, 7-iron shot, we're aiming for that ball every single time we hit a shot until we come into here. So it's really the first thing that we want to do when we go to hit a bunker shot is shift our thinking from we're not trying to hit the ball. So a couple things that we want to do in our setup to hit one of these shots, very similar to a pitch shot. So what we're going to try to do is to line the ball up to the very inside of our left heel when we set the ball in our stance, number one. That's going to help us to get the ball up into the air. We've got a real big lip here to contend with, so we need to get the ball up fairly quickly. So that's going to help to get the ball up in the air. So the club we're going to want to use is going to be a sand wedge. So without getting too technical, a sand wedge has what's called a bounce angle. So a bounce angle is the angle of this bottom part of the club, which is this here. So again, called a bounce angle. So in order for the golf club to work properly, or for this bounce to work like it should in the sand, we have to open the club. So we talked about in a pitch shot, opening it up a little bit if we want to hit it a little bit higher. When we're in the sand, we really have to open that club up. If we don't do that, then the golf club's not gonna go through the sand like it's designed to do. So when we open the club, it exposes the bounce of the club. And so what'll happen if we don't open the club when we go to make a shot, that club is gonna, as soon as it hits the sand, it's gonna dig, and it's gonna then continue to dig, which is not what we wanna do. So when we open the club like we should, expose the bounce of the club, what that's gonna help that club to do is dig a little, bottom out, and then come back out. Okay, so if you are hitting bunker shots and you tend to just dig a giant hole behind the ball with the club, first thing I would check to be if that golf club is open or not. Okay, all right, so ball to the inside of our left heel, club a little bit open. So when we talked about not hitting the golf ball, what I try to picture is if you thought of a distance, and you can do this when you practice, about an inch behind the ball if I drew a line, and if I drew a line about an inch ahead of the ball, I'm trying to think about taking that whole area of sand out as I'm hitting my shot, okay? So when I set up to hit that, again, I'm thinking of my club entering the sand on that back line, which is about an inch behind the ball, and I'm hoping my club comes out of there at about the other line, which is about an inch ahead of the ball. Okay, so see if we can do this here. All right, so we can see here, my club entered the sand right about where that line was, came out of the sand just a little past that line, but I accelerated my club through the sand, ended up getting the ball out of there and hit a pretty good shot. So when you're out practicing, what you want to do is, again, if you draw those lines, the tendency for a lot of golfers is to not take any sand at all. And when that happens, so I didn't take any sand at all. The two lines that I put in the sand are both still intact. They haven't been touched by my club at all. That ball, I was trying to hit it about 15 yards. That ball went about 80 yards, okay? So kind of an out of control shot, which can be a little bit of a scary shot. So again, if we go in our practice time, again, looking at those two lines, aim for the lines, hit the back line and the forward line that time. So if you can use those the two lines that you put out here as an aiming point, it's really going to help you to get some productive practice. So you know you're doing it correctly when you see a little bit of a wave of sand splash out where it goes from right in the bunker here to out there. You'll see a nice little wave of sand. And again, the fact that we're not hitting the ball here is such a different shot. It's it's going to take a little bit more practice to get this shot down than a lot of the other shots that we work on. So I would focus on your practice time is to definitely spend a little bit of time in here hitting these bunker shots, using the lines out there to help you gauge where that club's going to hit the sand. Spend a little bit of time out there and hopefully it'll save you some shots when you get out there on the course.